Let's get it started. So it's specifically for equips, right? But we'll look around a little bit, of course. It's good to have all the information.
Yeah.
So you are maining Kanna?
Well, so that's kind of where this session comes in too, is that I mained Kanna because everyone told me that that was the best class to start out with, you know? And with the compensation and whatnot, I figured it was a nice way to get a jump start, and like if I don't like it, then I have a farming Kanna already, you know, and to, like help jumpstart any like main that I would want. I'm kind of like nearing that point because like so I do a lot of solo progression really, just out of habit I guess partially, but yeah.
Because you can,
and I kind of feel like I'm gimping myself. Like solo CRA was like super hard because I don't have a secondary, so like getting IED was super weird. And I was reading like a Reddit thread, and they're like, yeah, on Kanna you need like double range other classes to like kill some bosses. And like I watched like your Project CRA, and I was like, wow, Nightlord does it, you know, with 5k stat, 6k stat. I think I was close to like 11k when I could do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends very heavily
like obviously
per
like
class.
skill level, legion and whatnot like plays into that, but like it's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of variables for sure, and kind of specifically IED and crit rate are pretty tricky to come by. You have to make sure that those are lined up properly.
Yeah, so I think this VIP buff kind of like carried me for a lot of it. I maxed out the IED, I maxed crit and boss damage. Yeah, so that helped me out a ton, I think.
So you're still like maining it now, or?
Yeah, for now. I guess like when would be like a good point to transition, right? Like because I want to try and like hit like that optimal level where like I'm clearing the most weekly bosses I could without like over investing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you have any desire to go for the harder bosses like Hard Lucid and Hard Will as well, or no?
Probably not. I think I would chill out at like Lotus Damien, being able to solo normal.
Right. Yeah.
To start getting Absolab.
Yeah.
Because like once this character is good enough, I plan on starting a second Kanna, like a Kanna mule on a second account during Neo Burning.
Right.
And then yeah.
Yeah, and I work
then
more on
this
Legion
character can carry that Kanna, and then that Kanna can carry my mains, and it's like yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You don't even need to communicate with any other people at that point. You could just do it all yourself.
Exactly.
Like that's the main reason why you ended up like doing most things solo for now, because you kind of can, you know. You just you don't have to really play with other people. You can, of course, if you want to, but no real need to. It is a mass single player online role playing game at this point.
So, yeah, it's an RPG. Yeah.
Is it the only 2D MSO RPG that's out there? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of the thing that keeps bringing me back to MapleStory is that like I just like, you know, the AFK grinding. You know, I can like have a couple of drinks, and just chill out. And yeah, and I like boss. I like my own free time. You know, it's not like I want to follow a schedule or anything. So.
Yeah. So when it comes to soloing Lotus and Damien, how far have you gotten towards that?
I haven't even done the Lotus pre-quest yet. So.
Okay. And
but I haven't done Vellum yet. So.
Right. Okay. So that's so you've done 3-door, not Vellum?
Yeah, I've done 3-door, not Vellum.
Okay. And then nothing after that either? Well, what people consider after that, like HMAG, Akechi, CPAP, have you done any of those?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've done Chaos Pink Bean. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like the steps one at a time, right? Like the bosses to the next one. So like Vellum, and then you'd have probably HMAG next, and then Akechi, then CPAP, something like that. And then Lotus and Damien would be after that. So if you want to like slowly work your way up, that would be kind of a good gauge to see like how close you are to going to the next one, basically.
Gotcha. Okay.
And for each one of those, practice is very important, of course. So.
Right. I was going off of this like daily, weekly spreadsheet you had.
Yep.
And so like I soloed Chaos Zakum before I cleared 3-door. So.
Yeah. Are they in the same level range, or because the order with which they are like horizontally isn't really 100%. It's more like if they're all in the same column on when you can do it, kind of thing. And for Czak, I put him a little bit higher because he's so wonky. And I wanted to make sure that you have enough damage to just mow him down and not have to deal with those arms that hit like 3 seconds after you. Or like that still kill you even though you've moved out of the way like 3 seconds earlier.
Right. You don't want to have to deal with the mechanics.
It's so frustrating. Well, or the lack thereof, yeah. So that's why they might not necessarily be in the same order, but they're like around the same area, right? Like Hard Magnus, Chaos Vellum, yeah, Chaos Secum, yeah, that's why I put him up there, yeah. Yeah, so you're around that part. Yeah, so you want to make sure that it's worth doing all the Lotus requests and all that stuff, and start practicing the bosses before we get there. Specifically when it comes to Vellum, did you pick up any tips or something from the videos that you did see? Or do you still have struggle with some specific stuff?
I think for me it's mostly just a matter of timing. I think like if I just put in the effort, I can clear it. Right, like the timer's pretty generous, and I do decent damage. So I get stuck in animations, and I like don't know the tail timing very well to like teleport out.
Yeah, that's an important one. Tail timing and the falling rocks, right? Those are very important.
Yeah, because sometimes you get like nasty overlaps and whatnot.
Yeah, and once you get stunned by a rock, you're basically like there's already like a 50-50 chance you die most of the time. So you just want to make sure you never get hit by those ever. Yeah, and it definitely comes down to practice so that you know just the rhythm of like, oh, I see an indicator, I have this long, and then boom. And it's not like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi or something, but you just kind of like feel that timing. Once you do it so many times, it just becomes second nature. Okay, can this little fly? Okay. Yeah, with that being said, you're just to double check, like you're like familiar with the domain setup for your burst, how to do that?
Yeah.
Ideally?
You like domain, Vank, Charm, and then
yeah, do you use your blue lady with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, just double checking. Because that's gonna be the bulk of your damage, right? And then Vanquisher Charm hold all the way, the big blue thing going all the way through Vellum, right? That can get a lot of damage going. You keep your Nine-Tailed Spirit buff up when you're bossing.
I didn't know this thing gave a buff. What?
Yeah, it gives like I think it's for 30 seconds and on 30-second cooldown, so you can keep that one up at 100%. I think it gives a bunch of magic attack, if I'm not mistaken. Nine-Tailed Spirits, MapleStory. That did get changed at some point. Nine Spirits Egg? Oh, no, that's not it.
Wait, what is this skill?
This skill... Wait. Is it another name? Nine-Tailed Fox?
Is it the Nine-Tailed Fury?
Fury, oh. That might be the name. Oh yeah, that one.
Damage increase buff after the attack. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, 20% damage. If you have it maxed, it's 39-second duration. If you have some kind of buff duration in your account, it'll probably go up to roughly about 45 seconds, and it's a 45-second cooldown, so it's 20% damage all the time.
Okay, well, stay alert.
Yep.
Gotcha. It's a pretty long animation, though. So
yeah, exactly.
Use, but I guess you just have to find a timing for it or something.
Yeah, you probably want to. You probably don't want to use it to like try to hit Vellum with, but use it when Vellum just went away and disappeared, and you don't like you know where he went underground is like a significant difference from you, and either rocks just fell or you know where rocks are falling and you know you're standing in a safe spot, and then just pop it and then get out of the way, and then by the time Vellum pops up, you have the buff active again, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do the damage with it. I'm literally just trying to put it on cooldown. Got it.
Oh, and people in chat are saying that you can animation cancel it with Tengu?
Oh.
Or Shiki.
Same with Exo. Okay, then.
So that should make it even safer. Hopefully that's an animation cancel that doesn't crash your game like all the Hayato animation cancels. Because those seem a very high risk. Like, you can animation cancel. You can also overload your computer and crash your game, but I don't think this is one of those. Otherwise, people would probably be saying that in the chat right now. Okay. Okay, well, already some new advice there. How much do you use your barriers?
I don't use one of them. I use the one that gives me boss damage.
Right.
I don't know about the other one.
Yeah, you want to play around that, right? Try to put it on a vein and then try to get Vellum on the boss barrier and then go for the whole combo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the other one reduces incoming damage by a percentage. So like if a tail is underneath you, sometimes you can kind of use that to extend your burst, for example. Like you can make it so that you're not gonna die, right? Like you can hold down Vanquisher Charm and just stay, even though a tail isn't, like if it's a one tail, right? One tail that's underneath you, because you know it's not gonna kill you, and probably if you haven't healed in a while, Haku's just gonna heal you right back up afterwards anyway. And then that way you might be able to squeeze in more damage. If you're in a situation where you feel like, you know, mechanics-wise, you're pretty much at the point where you can do it, but somehow you're just not able to squeeze in enough damage in the timer, then, you know, that wouldn't be as much a risk at that point, because you're just using the mechanics of the barrier that you have. But you also don't want to have too many barriers out, because then your mana regeneration gets a little shitty, and yeah, all of that stuff.
Right.
Then you're like sitting there just waiting for your mana to come back. Doesn't feel very good. So how far have you gotten, Vellum?
Like 50%.
50%. And
but like I mostly just die out, right?
Right,
so
yeah, and you
I'm
die
not
out,
running out of time or anything.
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, is that like around half the timer? Or a little bit less even, maybe?
It's a little... I have more than half, I think.
Yeah, because the second half of Vellum is significantly faster than the first half as well.
Right, because he starts doing like the breath attack, right?
Yeah, and then during the breath attack, you can hit him way more, and he does way more of the snot attacks as well, which leaves him vulnerable a lot more as well. But for snot attacks, that's a lot. That takes quite some practice to make sure that you can keep doing the damage and not dying to everything. Like repositioning yourself with like Exorcist Charm into side teleport, that kind of stuff. Making sure that you stay on tails longer, so that tails overlap more, so there's less area with tails to cover, so you have more safety to go by. Recognizing that you can tank the snot falling from the sky as long as it's one snot at a time, and just, you know, healing at appropriate times. Yeah, I think all of my CRA runs now where I kill Vellum, I think I take a lot of risk with the snot faces. Specifically with the
taking a lot of those. Yeah.
Yes, specifically with the battle mage. But the only thing I'm tanking is like when it's falling from the sky, right? Like the green stuff falling from the sky. But all the other stuff, it's all like a matter of like when is the rhythm, you know, like when does it show up? When do you have to move to the side? And I think from that you can see that in the beginning it's very scary, because it's like, oh, he does the green thing. Okay, I'm just going to move away to the other side of the map and just wait until it's done. Like that's how I started way back. Like, that's how you deal with that. You just kind of wait until he's done. But you can actually get a lot of damage in when he's standing there. And it's trying to find the balance between when do you take risk and when do you not take risk, of course. And you're familiar, like, do you use your ethereal form and your other Kanna iframe? Do you use those?
No, not really.
Okay. Because, I mean, if you're dying out, then, you know, giving yourself the extra survivability with those skills might be, you know, giving you a little bit more time to get further into the boss fight, and then you can also get more accustomed to the second part of the boss fight and notice how much faster that actually is. Once you start, doing the big breath, sucking you to the side, the run does speed up quite a bit, because you can do way more damage, especially if you can trigger one of those big blue spirit circles right on top of him when he's standing there. The whole thing just flies through him. That's a lot of damage for Kanna, of course. 250. Yeah, so that's
I'm not
that's
too
mainly
worried
practice.
about downing Vellum. I think I just sit down one night and I can probably just figure it out. Like over a weekend or something.
Yeah, because have you practiced like once or like 10 times? Because I have no gauge.
I've tried it like three or four times.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, it wasn't a big commit, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, right? Like it's sort of like I have the fake arcane, so it's like, what am I getting from Vellum? besides like a boss crystal, right? Which is nice. But,
Right. Yeah. It would be the boss crystal, but also just like the character control and the because everything with Vellum and everything after that, there's always just stuff falling from the sky, and just getting better at boss mechanics in general will just make every next boss easier to get to the point where you can kill it quickly. I feel.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
And yeah, it does feel good to just know that you can walk into 4-door and like get everything done in like 30 minutes and get 200 mil.
I mean, I still coin flip here, man. Like,
yeah, because you have everything hitting everything, so you have to kill him pre-split, otherwise it's a huge nightmare, I guess.
Yeah.
You just walk out, you just go back 30 minutes later.
Yeah, if I miss the domain, or like if the bind's a little late and the domain is still up when he splits, it's just GG, dude. Go next.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll keep that in mind, and then we'll look specifically at your equips and everything. So you did notice that, or you did mention that you're getting kind of carried now with the VIP skill. Have you figured out where you're going to get your crit and extra IED when that is no longer a thing?
I think with decent sharp eyes, I can still crit cap with that and link skills, because I built up a beast tamer and a phantom since the VIP came out.
Okay.
I don't know how hard that 30% ID is gonna hit me though. Probably a decent chunk, right? So.
Yeah. Are you familiar with ID and how that's all calculated and stuff?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're now you're at 89.
I heard like Vellum you want like 90, so it's like.
Yeah, at least
cringe.
like 90 functional. Yeah, you don't have much functional IED as a Kanna. Pretty sure it's only the boost nodes and Explorer mages if you have that. Otherwise, it's just what you see is what you get kind of thing.
Yeah.
Have you worked on familiars at all? Do you have those?
Yeah, I have two 15% familiars IED.
And then link skill wise, you have the Lightwash. Lightwash is still level 1, so there's some room for growth there.
Yeah.
And it might be a good idea to throw in like the Hoyoung and the Zero, just to squeeze out all the IED you can get, right?
Yeah, I think Hoyoung was one of the characters I was planning on Terra burning. Come Neo as like a potential like main swap. Worst case, I have a good boss in Mule, it looks like.
Yeah, yeah, it's a strong class for sure. Because a lot of the link skills that you have on right now are level 1, so it's not really a big loss if you switch those out by something like that even gives you like a little bit of IED, because they'll probably, all else equal, probably give you a lot. You don't have any of the link skills right now stacked. Are you aware of that some link skills go into the
stack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't have any of the classes.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Stackable. Yeah.
Because you're still working on.
Just recently started working on Legion.
Right.
So.
Okay. Yeah.
So I just have a bunch of 70 spam because it's efficient, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get a lot of levels out of that for sure. Yeah, as long as you keep, where you're going and which characters are going next there, then that's fine. Yeah, I think Hoyoung is a very viable potential main, so you can't really go wrong there. You'll definitely be able to get to killing CRA very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, boost node wise, you're just like stacking as many boost nodes as possible, right, to get the.
Yeah, pretty much.
To get your skills buffed.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward because I'm like, this is bossing and farming, so.
Yeah, it does mean that you are, for some skills that might do a lot of damage during bursts, might mean that you're therefore missing some damage when bossing, right? Because proportionally in the beginning, when your boost nodes are still leveling up, now yours are probably past that point, but in the beginning, if your boost nodes were very low level, you'd want to go overboard on the skill nodes more so than the bossing, than the boost nodes way in the beginning. Well, it depends on how burst heavy you are, right? And as a Kanna, you're more of a farming character, so your main attacks, like when do you do all your damage? Like when the main is on, when Ona is on, and when you're doing the Vanquisher Charm and the big blue ball comes out, right? If you, during that time, if you can squeeze in the Goddess Blessing and Mana Overload, for example, like that's a lot of extra damage that will make it so that one situation squeezes out way more damage. And because you have reliable short cooldown binds, that is something that you can always wait for and like throw a lot of damage in.
Right. Yeah. Do I want to use the will skill, the spider thing?
That is pretty strong, yeah. Boost node wise, where are you at boost node wise right now? 49, 26, 31.
Yeah. Ideally, I could get Vank Charm up to like 40. And then. Yeah.
Yeah, that's mainly if you're like for bossing, if you're maining it. If your character just becomes like a farmer dude, Venture Charm kind of goes out the window.
Right. Yeah.
Domain. Yeah, if domain's higher level, the higher uptime will also get you. Will make stuff a lot easier because you can almost get a second Vanquisher Charm off during your domain if it's maxed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you can get like 2/3 or like 3/4 of a second Vanquisher Charm in if you use it like right away. It's almost like a second like a second burst within the domain, which is a lot of damage.
Yeah, maybe I'll work on that then. It'll probably be nice to have at least for like.
Yeah, leveling domain will also make training and farming on a character super easy because the uptime is just so crazy that it feels like it's up all the time. If you're
if I pop domain, I actually lose Kishin uptime because all the mobs die too fast.
Yeah, that's the only downside. Yeah, you have to have a map where there's some monsters that can never get hit by the domain or something, and then stand on the other side and just AFK with hoping that your Night Ghost guy triggers or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like trying to learn how to farm like the D-cup maps in Arcana, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if like the guides I'm watching are like outdated or if I'm just not using the jump down teleports correctly. But...
Yeah, I don't have any specific knowledge on that, sadly. I don't.
Okay.
Don't do any farming, so I can't really help you with that specifically. Yeah, but like for bossing, I wouldn't underestimate the if you have a boost node that has skills like, you know, like the one with Tengu and Kishin and a little bit more of the boss, because like the boss is punching one side of the map. He doesn't get that many attacks in Vellum in the beginning, especially when he's just constantly going underground. I don't know if you're like weaving in Tengu. That's a pretty risky thing to do when you're still practicing the mechanics, and Kishin's damage is pretty negligible. So if you replace that with like mana overload, so you constantly have 8% or 7% or 8% or something extra final damage the whole time, that's already a pretty nice buff. The only thing is that you lose some you don't have mana, so you lose a little bit of HP the whole time when you're attacking, so you have to take a little bit more care for your HP. I don't know if you have auto HP or like Haku heals every now and then as well.
Yeah, Haku heals every now and then. I'm not like dying to like random damage right now. I'm mostly just getting one tapped by tails and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's something where like initially you can use ethereal form, of course, to then if you get tapped, but you have to, you know, be in time to tap ethereal form, and if you're going to be in time to tap ethereal form, you probably would have been in time to teleport out of the way as well. So I don't know how useful it is. It's maybe like, let's say that you're in the second half and you like get sucked to the side and you're on the wrong side and you can't make it all the way to the other side. You can just use ethereal form and just tank it, something like that.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, for boost nodes and everything, you know where to find the combinations, right? With the vmatrix command that I have.
Yeah. I built out a full spreadsheet for myself too.
Cool.
Like finding the right pairings and stuff. So.
Yeah. So even with because I saw your emblem has 70%. Even with that, you're like visually at 89 IED with an event buff and 215 IED familiars. Man, that's rough.
Yeah.
Well, that only goes to show how much comes from your link skills and Legion. So that's going to be pretty important to build that up. And in general, if you want to play multiple characters and have it so that multiple characters are viable, you know, like have Ho-Young as a bossing mule. If he doesn't become a main, have another character that might be your main. Have the Kanna that you can at least do the weekly bosses with as well. The way that you will fund all of those characters is by building up your Legion. And then once your Legion is built, every single character will have a baseline of funding, essentially, right? We can't trade equips, but we can trade value through the Legion and link skill system. And that's basically how you want to see that you're funding your characters.
Yeah.
Fully tradable. I mean, well, limits link skills, of course, but other than that, fully tradable and transferable funding. So the IED can't hurt for quite a while. So anything that you any make that gives you more IED is always going to be helpful for the Kanna, especially once the event buff goes away. Other than that, we'll see what we can do you for. So WSE is most important, and you mentioned that first, so that's good. So the emblem is probably necessary at this point, so I'm not gonna touch that. When it comes to the secondary, are you aware how the calculations and everything work for the secondary?
I get that I need attack percent, and that's like all that carries over or something.
Yeah, so there's two.
I don't know how the flame works, but yeah, I know the potential.
Yeah,
only attack percent.
Okay, so there's two things. So one is that when it comes to the potential, the only thing that you get is magic attack and is intellect. So that's why the all stat is also in white and is not grayed out like the IED, because all stat also gives you 5 int, so that 5 int technically also counts, and then the magic attack 6% counts fully. This is of course because otherwise it would be. Because the other buff, it would be OP. So the other buff, the one that you might be confused about, is when you summon Haku, he gives you, I think it's not called Foxfire, but it's like another buff. It's like a red fox looking thing, and it gives you a stack of magic attack, and that magic attack is based on a percentage of the total magic attack of your fan. So if you get a good flame on your fan, and if you get Star Force on your fan to increase the the total magic attack, you won't get it like in this picture, like it'll still be grayed out, but a percentage of it will be given to you as a buff through Haku, so it'll still have some efficiency on making you stronger. I believe it's like 39%.
So I do want to Star Force it, and I do want...
And you do want to get a good flame, yeah. So with that in mind, you probably want to do that on a different flame than this one, right? So that brings us back to like, what is the value of Vellum? Well, you probably are going to still want to get an Absolab fan to give to Haku. And if you want to get a good high Star Force Absolab fan without spending too much money and wasting too much, it's probably going to be advisable to have a bunch of Fafnir that you can just Star Force and Star Force fodder and don't have to worry about safeguarding, and because you can get backups more easily. And then once you have a good number that you want, transfer hammer it into an Abzo and then equip it on your Haku. And that's probably one thing that you want to work on.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right,
because all the CRA stuff can transpose or transfer into Abso.
Into 160. Yeah, the top and the bottom is just used by itself, of course, but the hat is used and the weapon is used. The other stuff, top and bottom is just, you just keep more tops and bottoms for going even higher and risking more, basically.
Right. Would I want to prioritize getting that secondary ban over like upgrading out of Pencilier?
Yeah, so if it'll probably still be fine if you can get the Fafnir fan, and you can even go up to like so the question is like, how long is it going to take you to get somewhere? Because let's say there's a Star Force event or something, or you just get it to like 15, you could be like, okay, well, I'm just going to get like 16 and just transfer over, and Abzo 17 is good enough, which it'll probably be for quite a while. That you don't necessarily have to get like 16 backups for Fafnir or something, right? Like you can do that pretty, like relatively quickly. And depending on how quickly you can do something and how long you're going to hold on to the thing before, I would say proportionate to that, that's how long you would hang on to your item, and that would determine how much money you're going to spend. Now, the great thing with your fan is that this one can transfer hammer into the Fafnir. So if you Star Force this one, if you blow it up, it's whatever, you can just get another Utgard fan, right? Those are like everywhere. So you can, without safeguarding, you can probably very easily get this one to 16 or 17. And then just wait until you have a Fafnir, transfer hammer it over, then hold on to that one, the Epic will go over, and then work on the Abzo, and then transfer it over again, and then you're done, basically. So typically what people do is they do the same process, but one step removed, and they do like their main fan. They do that too, and then once the main fan switches out, they give the last main fan over to the Haku, and then switch it over like that. So it's kind of like a hand-me-down. Haku gets like the your main kind of fan hand-me-down. But since yours is locked in, you're just doing that directly for Haku. So I think eventually you want like a 17-star Abzo with a good flame, but for the flame you only need magic attack, and that's it. Everything else can just it just doesn't count. And a flame and a potential with just magic attack mainly. So hopefully at least 2 lines of magic attack. And then the main sources of IED for now will be your emblem, and then that's fine. And then later, hopefully, if you get an actual weapon, which will probably be once if you're doing those bosses, maybe get a real one. But you'll probably just stick to this as your main weapon the whole time. So that does mean that you can count on the crit rate, but you cannot count on IED there. So we'll have to get it somewhere else, which mainly will be from Superior Golic set, which might be very far down the line. Or might be from growing your Legion and your Links, which I think that's more reasonable, especially if this one is going to move into being more of a farming Kanna, then you don't want to have to, go super hard on doing Helix every single day to be able to approach, right? You don't want to make sure that you need that ID there. So there is going to be a bit more pressure on the Legion and the Links for that reason. Or eventually through doing dailies here and more nodes and all of that, the character is also going to get way stronger, of course, and that will also make it so that even if your ID is a little bit on the lower side, since you'll be so strong, you'll still be able to kill 4-door and up to like a Lotus and Damien probably still pretty quickly. And if you don't feel like it, you can always just duo someone. There's probably thousands of people out there who are be just fine duoing with a Kanna who can like barely solo, but you'll have like link skills at your disposal, right? You can get some buff freezers and all of the monster Parker potions and all of that. Like if you go all out, you can also do way more damage, of course.
Yeah, I think another thing that's I'm kind of struggling with is like juggling drop gear with like main gear, because right now like I think over half my accessories are like drop or meso. When they could be all stat, right? Like I have a bunch of legendary stuff, and it's like I'm losing out on a lot of damage. Like if I wanted to go, but like,
I don't
know. I'm like super indecisive right here because the Terror Burning's coming up right around the corner, and like I could very easily like swap out. So
yeah, but you'll just make the character first and then see if you like it, right?
Yeah, true.
I think that's the important thing, and the Kanna will be able to either fund that character or just fund itself. That's not really a huge issue. But I think besides having the WSE on point, the next thing would be to get your drop and meso set completed, because you do have that in your inner ability, right? 20 meso, 10 drop, yeah. So your current set is so you have 9 accessories, right? That can get drop or meso. So what do you have right now? How many drop? How many meso?
I have 2 lines of drop, 2 lines of meso, I think.
So eventually we want to work towards 5 meso, 4 drop at least.
Does the greed pendant count for anything when you're farming, or is it just giving me more pencilier garbage?
Yeah, more pencilier garbage and hopefully more symbols, right? That's also an equip.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But other than that, we don't know exactly. Some people have theorized that equip drop rate doesn't even exist as like a simple line, so it probably functions as drop rate. But if it does it go into the pile of how much drop rate you can stack? Like people are pretty unsure about all of that. But with all of that, like what you said, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like you have 9% int, 9% MP, and then a line of drop or meso. Like that's fine at this point, A lot of the damage that you're still going to be needing is going to come from having you currently have the CRA, like once that's all at 17, and then solidifying that in unique with at least 9%, that kind of stuff, and then moving into the Abzu gear. That's going to make it so that you can kill things around your level as long as you keep working on the symbols and keep leveling the symbols. And then the boost nodes, once those get really online, those are going to take over the kill potential. You don't really need to worry that much about not so much about the Star Force, but you can't really for the accessories at this point. You can really worry that much about the Star Force, but you don't have to worry that much about the potential not having like perfect intellect aside from the meso and the drop rate, and that ruining your kill speed too much. For now, yes, but like once you get all those other things in order, like extra arcane power, boost nodes, etc., those things I mentioned, that's where your like 95% of your damage is going to come from, and it should never be, determined by how much intellect do you have on your drop rate equips. That shouldn't be determining whether you can kill quickly or not. But a little bit is always nice, because a lot of little bits do add up, of course. Because it's 9 equips, right? If all of them have 9% intellect, then it's 81% intellect. Of course, that can make a difference. But one item having 4 magic attack and 10 stat less or something, that shouldn't be making the difference. The other thing with that, though, is that Neo is around the corner. Neo has some super strong rings. I don't know if you've looked into that already.
Yeah, I looked into it a little bit. I already had the Awake ring here.
Yep.
Obviously,
Mhm.
but so I was thinking about maybe claiming 1 or 2 on the Kana, and then 1 or 2 on whatever character I'm burning.
Yep. Yeah, you can get up to 5, but they're pretty expensive, so it's easy to say like, oh, I'll just get all 5, but I think that's a lot of work getting getting all 5 literally. So, yeah, because the Chaos Ring, of course, rolled some intellect, so you don't necessarily want to roll over that. You were thinking either the Reboot Cosmos Ring to fill the gap, or maybe one of the Neo Rings. Is that what you were kind of thinking?
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like at this point, I mean, and you can, of course, the kind of treasure will eventually get up to 17. Like at this point, all of the rings are kind of equal to you. Even the kind of treasure at 17 might still even be the weakest ring because of, you know, how all the other stuff works, and your Chaos Ring has a really good roll.
Yeah.
And
That was something I wanted to ask actually. Is that like keepable? Should I keep it? I mean, I have until November to roll it, so it like feels weird, but
yeah, no, you
to sell this early,
100%. Yeah, you 100% want to keep this. Yeah, this is like pretty
okay.
damn difficult. Like if even just rolling 5 magic attack with anything is probably already keepable, but you have like 1 under max intellect, and both your HP and MP are above average. So yeah, this is like a dream roll basically.
Okay, okay.
Because the way you have to see it is you can go up to +5, up to -5, and 0. So there's 11 possibilities per thing.
Mm.
So you have a 4 and a 5 out of a, so you have like the 21, the 21st best outcome out of 22 basically is what you have. So there's like a 4 maybe % chance of rolling something better, but then the MP and the HP are probably going to be lower. So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably not going to get improved. Like the Neo rings will be better. Like the Wake, well, you already have the Wake to Tenebris, and the Glory ring will be still a little bit better. But yeah, those are going to be tricky to get.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, like it's fine. So what other accessories were you working on? So the Cosmos, yeah, the Cosmos is already unique, so it's probably fine to push the Cosmos. But if the Cosmos ends up rolling a bunch of intellect, then you probably might need to, you know, then you want to buy one of the other rings, right, to fill the gap.
Yeah, I actually Meister cubed it, and it's 15% intellect now.
Mm-hmm.
So possibly a keep.
Yeah, 15 is like on the cusp. I think you could probably still try to roll for a little bit better.
Okay.
And then if it rolls meso or drop with a line of intellect, like then that's, you know, and that one is locked in. If it rolls any meso or drop, I would just keep it first of all, you know, so until you have 9 accessories that have meso or drop. And then if you go higher than 5 on the meso or higher than 4 on the drop, then you just roll whatever ring has the worst potential aside from that line, and then keep rolling until you get the other stat that you need. So you can get to 5 meso, 4 drop combination.
Right.
So were you thinking of doing the Sakumun Iron Face or thinking of doing the Sweetwater stuff?
Yeah, so I'm a little... I don't really understand all the transpose items. Like, Zakum accessories can't go into anything, right?
Yeah, no.
Cost.
Yeah. Transposing is into Sweetwater always. So the item has to be at least level 140 until level 155 or something, or level 151. I don't know what the exact level requirement is, but like when it comes to transposing and stuff and Iron Face, the only thing that is relevant there is Papulatus Mark into Sweetwater Monocle. Like that's the only option. And
so
Papulatus Mark
doesn't
is
have a transpose.
Super rare. Yeah, no, and Tattoo doesn't have a transpose, no.
Okay.
That's when it comes to the Iron Face stuff. So if your Iron Face are only quote unquote at Epic now, and you have the Dineros, you could go for the Tattoo and the Monocle because of the higher tier. The other thing is though, like if you do that, you lose out on the set bonus, right, from the boss accessory set, which also has some IED in there, which might actually be nice. So, right. So that's the downside. And of course, also the Zakum accessories have flame advantage, which is very nice early on, because like your Kanna's Power Crystal is just giving 6% all stat. The other one could, you know, it has 33 and 5, so that's also something. There's a lot of stat you miss there, and until you get the eye in the face from Commercy up to at least 17 stars, there's no way that it can like overcome that damage. So that needs a lot of initial investment.
I see.
So the downside is just like if you get initially I would just say it's fine to get these to legendary. The thing is just like if you get these to legendary, you end up rolling a lot of intellect on them. That's gonna feel kind of shitty because then you have to like make another one. That's not gonna feel yeah. So, but yeah, since the eye is epic, you could also decide to just go for the black bean mark because you can eventually Star Force that one to 17, so that saves a whole bunch of dineros. And this character is probably not gonna go beyond 17, at least in the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So I'll probably just start working on the black bean mark for the eye.
Okay.
Because that seems more reasonable, higher level, and everything. And if push does come to shove, you can always transfer hammer it into the pep mark if you get it, and then work on a pep mark, transpose it into Sweetwater Monocle, and then be done that way as well. Like 17 into 16, you want the pep mark to be 16 anyway for transpose. The only thing you have to do is reflame it, and then transpose. So that way you can recoup some of the investment as well.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good then.
Yep. So then the other stuff, I
did get a raw Dominator drop the other day.
Okay, cool.
So what do I need to put into that? Like,
yeah.
Where do I get a 130 necklace from?
You
are supposed to transpose it, are you not?
Yeah, it's a Dominator pendant with transpose into Sweetwater pendant. Transposing though is something that you typically start thinking about once everything is like around 17 star and you've got like your full Superior Gallic set. That's like when transposing usually comes into play.
Okay.
So this character might get to that point, but it seems at this point that that's pretty that's still really up in the air if this character is ever going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to keep the option open, but I don't think you necessarily have to start planning for that at this point.
Okay.
So, and if you want to transpose, the main thing is just like you have to do a lot of voyages, get a lot of dinero backups and that kind of stuff. But for now, I think it's going to be more important to get your full drop and meso set completed. Work on the boss mechanics, make sure you keep doing your dailies, work on nodes, get nodes from everywhere that you can, like all the event shops and all that. Maybe consider getting the droplets from the shop, right? If you have another character you want to main, maybe you can purchase a weapon once the droplet exchange comes out. Because that will give your whatever character you decide to play a huge boost. It will just set them up for life, basically. If you get arcane weapon. Of course, you have to do the runs. You have to do like lucid runs before that. But getting like the drop rate meso set completed, that will probably be your... that's your main priority after the, working on the weapon stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Haku one.
Yeah, so get a secondary, then finish out drop rate, set, and then... Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking... what are you... Oh yeah, because you have the drop on the earrings, right. Yeah, and you can use the Dominator for now for like drop meso set, because if it does come to the point where you transpose and everything, like you want to transpose at 16, so I would I wouldn't go to 17 on the Dominator. If you come to that, I would keep it at 16. And if you have a really good flame, then you can if you transpose, it keeps legendary even, so you don't even lose the legendary potential there. So there's no...
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So there's no real again, that's a minimal loss, so maximum transference of investment, so that would also be fine. So then you would end up with the a Dom, and then probably the Mechanator pendant, right, and the earring, and then a different fourth ring, and the bean mark, and the condensed power crystal. Or would you do the greed pendant instead as a second pendant?
That's a good question. I guess I'll just see what rolls what, right? If greed pendant rolls stat, it's good for using on bosses, right? Or some bosses. So.
Yeah, I mean, the thing could be though that you don't want it to break up your boss accessory set and go down there. If you can get the 9 boss accessory set going, then you can have the 10% boss from that as well, which is always going to be nice. Because I'm thinking, because you're using the other belt now. What boss? Okay, because you have no rings in this set, right? So you have cup. You would have cup eye face. At least one pendant. Earring. Is 5, and you're using.
So with Mechanator, I go up to 7 set.
Yeah.
So I would have to put in like the Horntail and like Von Leon ring to go up to 9.
Well, or switch the shoulder and the belt, right?
Oh, true. Yeah.
That would be the other thing, because the positive thing with the well, the shoulder would be to complete the set, and that would overtake the current one. But the thing with the belt is that's well, the current belt is that too, that you could transfer hammer into superior. But the thing with the belt is that 100 dex? Jesus.
Right.
That's a big number on a golden clover belt. The thing with the belt is that that it has flame advantage and has the set bonus, which is nice. And then if you're bossing, the 10% boss damage does overtake the set bonus from the Kanna set.
Okay, yeah. I knew I was gonna break that setup eventually. I just didn't know when was the right time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then if you do that, then you have 9. Hang on, let me visualize that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, and the badge, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so you need all those pieces because of the rings that you have. Yeah, but the rings are so good, so you want to keep the rings because it gives you a lot of damage.
Yep.
Yep.
Also, doing CRA with 140k HP, super easy, dude.
Yeah.
I see you over here struggling with like 30k HP. No, fail.
Yeah, some characters don't like Queen very much, but as a Kanna, I assume that you can take quite a punch.
Yeah,
You
burn damage. What's that?
Yeah, you just tank the breath, get rid of the burn damage even. Yeah, easy mode. Yeah, that HP comparatively is probably going to get down a little bit, once later on you start min-maxing your potential, so all of the percentage HP and percentage MP that you have are going to go away.
Yeah.
But until then, of course, you definitely want to you want to utilize that.
Would you ever risk the 10% item drop to try and get 15 to get that to a unique line, or is there a better unique line? Should I get like unique attack or something?
No, I would just keep this until you're sure that you're like not really leveling much anymore and you want to focus on min-maxing for bossing. Then I would redo it. But until then, this is pretty much perfect interoperability. It's just fine.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, you want to just save up all the honor experience in the world, and if you ever want to roll into something else, like you want to go for crit or some crazy stuff, that's gonna cost you millions if you want to do that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of honor experience to spend there. Don't worry.
So am I like far from Lotus Damien, or is it like probably doable in a few months?
Well, you're 14. What does my grid say that you want to be at? Like high 10s, low 20. Oh, I'm clicking the wrong thing. Whoops. Solo Damien Lotus mid. So like level wise you're there, but you want to be.
I'm like super on the low end for main stat.
Yeah. You probably want to be like mid 20s in stat, right? But you can probably do it a bit lower, but like 20 to. As a Kanna, you might have to be a little bit on the higher side, yeah. So you probably want to be at least 20k. Crit rate 100, damage percentage total. That's probably fine because of your stuff, and you're going to be using your 9-tail fury for your extra damage, right?
True. Yeah, extra 20. Let's go.
IED. You do have the boost nodes. Yeah, you definitely want to work Legion link skills on the IED. Get that Luminous up. The Hoyoung, the Zero, if it's available, because I don't think you have one, right?
No, I don't have one yet.
Yeah, and that'll be very nice as well with the experience block that it gives in Legion. That'll help all your characters level faster. And the other Explorer mages to stack together. That'll be good. You need like all of the IED there that you can get. And then what is it? Blaster and Beast Tamer have IED blocks in Legion.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll help as well. All of that added together. And I think Arcane Power wise you're well on your way, but that's just More is better. Just more intellect, more damage to throw at.
Yeah, like I think half my intellect is coming just from the symbols.
Yeah, there's
so.
a point. Yeah, I just surpassed the point for my Adele now, where finally I'm getting more intellect from other sources than just from arcane symbols. But it was the other way around. Yeah, it was like 55% was coming from symbols and 45 from everything else combined. It's kind of silly how good they are, but you know, power creep, hell yeah. Yeah, the flame on the weapon and better potential on your Haku weapon. Well, I mean Haku weapon for both. Like good flame there, and having a Fafnir and then into an Abzo later. That will give you a lot of extra damage, of course, a lot of extra magic attack.
Mm-hmm.
And then Star Force wise, you're probably on the lower end. Yeah, not too far away there. But yeah,
I was actually kind of confused on how to read this node stone number. What is this 20 over 5, 50 over 20?
Yeah, so it's like boost and skill nodes. I've got them split up because the priority usually early on is for the boost nodes.
I see. The right side is the skill node level.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like the total, yeah. So like the level you see in the matrix picture. So you're like dead on for that. That one is fine. But yeah, like the domain node is going to be very important.
Right. Yeah.
So that's going to be very very good. And the blue spirit lady also lasts longer when you level her up. So that's also pretty useful because you know all the skills cost less mana during that, so you can spam way harder without worrying.
Mm-hmm.
If you're into the whole Tengu canceling thing, that will give you a lot more damage as well. But yeah, that's more in-depth stuff that I have no personal experience with so far. But you know, Kanna is somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
We'll see. Only like 6 mages to go until Kanna.
Project Lamian coming soon.
We'll see. A little bit extra work for that one. But you know, once everything has CRA gear, you know, probably HMAG first, then maybe I'll skip Akechi. I don't know. If you think about it, like, oh, you get a 80 mil crystal from Akechi. If I do that on every character one time, that's like that'll be 3.5 bill in just selling crystals, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like
adds up.
That's not horrible.
Quick,
yeah. Just unlocking CRA on all the characters was already pretty ridiculous. Because I think it's 2.9 mil per crystal over 10 days. So it's like 120 mil per character. So over 40 characters is almost 5 bill for just unlocking CRA on everything.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize how much money it was until I was like, I can actually just fund hyper teleports just by doing CRA twice. Like normal CRA. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and RA also has the soul shards, right, from the Queen and the Vellum, which are very nice during events. So
I should not spend my soul shards off event, right?
No, I think the only one you want to do is like Lucid, right? If you need the farming Lucid, then you want to make sure that you get the normal one because the Magnificent one follows you around, which is not what you want. You want the normal one, which is stationary, and then you basically have another summon that you can plump down somewhere and then let it do a thing. We got like Kishin somewhere, you got the boss somewhere, you got Lucid somewhere, and then whatever's left, you just Exorcist Charm basically.
Yeah.
Those last 4 monsters that don't get auto-killed on spawn. Yeah, I guess the only other thing is like make sure all of the sources of crit rate and then critical damage are up. The one thing that's a little bit weird though is like critical damage is super super important when you're bossing, and then when you're mobbing it's kind of because you want all your summons to kill and summons don't even crit, so you need that flat damage to go up more. That's more important. So it's a little counterintuitive there, but for your whole account critical damage is very important, so it's going to be high priority regardless. Okay, so you know which accessories. Yeah, and then, once you start working on... But yeah, I would take it like one boss at a time like that. Just like slowly work your way up. The pre-quests for Lotus are endless, so mentally prepare for that before you start. Either...
Yeah, I checked the YouTube video for one, and I was just like,
why is it 6 hours long? Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but it's just long as hell. There's one trick, if you get to the point, there's like the one point that's the most fun in the game is also the only skippable thing, so, But there's like a little spaceship that you're in where you can kind of like shoot other spaceship down. If you just suicide that like twice in a row, it'll just let you skip it, so you can skip like 15 minutes of cutscenes and of that minigame. But it's also the funnest minigame in the whole thing, so I don't know if you want to skip it.
I see.
Maybe for your sanity you want to do it, you know?
Yeah, who knows? I'll decide when I get there, I guess.
Yeah.
I only have to do it on one character, though. Right?
Yeah.
Or...
Then every other character can just queue or walk there and go in. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, cool.
It's like
it's not like Pink Bean. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was a lot of work too, unlocking, because I wanted to get the belt and the cup on all my characters. That was also quite a lot of prep. Yeah. At least it's better now. Back in the day when it came out, you had to kill 1,000 of every monster.
Oh no.
So yeah, and the maps were like huge, and you had like no mobility, so it took that took forever back then. So it's gotten better over time, and it's no longer a requirement now for 5th job either. So it's more optional now. But yeah. for
I'm like trying to force myself to do it like when it's relevant content.
Yeah.
So like I'm getting XP from it, so it like doesn't feel like a waste.
Right.
Oh man, dude.
Yeah, I've just got eye on the prize for the for the gear that I want. Because for the set bonus, that's always that's juicy. I mean, it's flame advantage plus set bonus. The combination is really nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, on the topic of flames.
Yeah.
Rainbow versus red.
Yeah.
What's like the deal there? I tried using the calculator tool, but it like bugs out on rainbow flames.
Oh.
Like it doesn't give me an estimate. So
oh yeah, it can give you an estimate for price because you can't buy them.
Oh, I see.
But if you scroll down,
okay.
It says like how many you would need for either one. So it does give you the number. Roughly, if you're looking for a certain flame score, the higher you go, the more extreme it is. But roughly for realistic flame scores, the value is roughly like 3 reds to 1 eternal, roughly.
Okay.
Like if you would need 200 eternal to get something, then it would be roughly 600 powerful. But of course, the higher you go, the bigger the difference, because at a certain point you'd need like a tier 7, and that's completely impossible for powerful. So you'd have to roll like only 6s, which is astronomically rare, and then you'd need something in the order of magnitude of like 12,000 or whatever the So yeah, if you do Eternals, it doesn't give you the number, but it still says like how many average and median flame. So that's the number you want to look at.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so if there's ever an availability of Eternals that's like roughly around 3x of powerful, then it's definitely worth, because they have those higher outliers, right, potential than powerful does, and they're like the baseline is higher as well. But if it's like 5 times the price, it's like then at that point you want to make sure that it's going to the right thing. And if it's like 20 times the price, then it's probably priced for non-reboot, and there's no point in rebooters going anywhere near it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So 200 coins for Eternal is worth, because the reds are 70, I think. So.
Yeah. So
like value.
Yeah, when it comes to coin value, they're probably roughly it's almost 3 times, right? You'll probably see that value come back based on the calculations, and whether it's worth, I would say, is that if you've bought out everything else that's worth it for you, then yeah, I would say.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And in general, I would buy items that you cannot get with regular mesos like all year round, over items that you can. So even if it was like even if it was like 4 to 1, you could still go like, well, I'll still buy the Eternals because I can always buy powerful with mesos later, but you can never buy Eternals with coins just randomly when you want.
Gotcha.
Because of limited access. Yeah. Okay. Anything else that comes to mind?
How do I get to 1,200 points on the training dummy? Because I get to 1,100 and then I just hit ones.
Yeah, it's a level difference thing. You just get a 99% final or 100% final damage penalty. So you basically hit ones because of that. So
what level do you need to be for it? What?
I believe it's 260. So you have to be at least 241, I think, to start dealing damage to it.
Wow. Okay. Today I learned. Cool.
Yeah, don't worry. The one in Neo is even tougher. Like whales, who were like level 275 in KMS, were having trouble getting to the last stage in Neo. That one's apparently like really scary. It's like level 270 or something.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Ugh, all right, well,
Yeah, it's got
we'll
like
cross that
some
bridge when we get
trillions HP or something.
there. Jesus.
Yeah.
Dude, maybe they should let us do it as a party and reboot.
Yeah, maybe. Wait, you want to share the coins then?
Oh, maybe. Well, I thought we should just all take the same score,
Instance?
right?
Yeah, yeah, instance. Yeah, yeah. Go full Galix.
Mm. All right. Well, cool. I think we're a little over time, but yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, we're a little bit over time. Yeah. So I'll put it on YouTube if you want to look back through it.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think you've got your destination. But I hope you find a class that you really like, that you like even more during Neo.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah, and then I'll be back.
yeah, then we could get. Well, you can get at least to the same point as you got the Kanna, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the road
With
there
a
is.
little less stress too, for sure.
Yeah, having a bunch more nodes to throw into your character once you reach 5th job will be very useful.
Yeah, I'm starting to get like 20 nodes an hour. It's actually like very nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, and the money just flows, dude. Like
Yep.
even now, I'm getting like 250 an hour, which
Mhm.
is like it's just way more than I was getting before, right? So it's like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you still have room for drop rate and for meso obtain, right?
yeah.
Yep. So even just fixing those numbers will make the rates go up, even if your kill speed stays the same. So
Mm-hmm.
that's good stuff. All right. Well, best of luck on everything,
Cool. Yeah. Thanks.
and thanks for all
Appreciate
the
it, man.
gifted subs.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you around.
All right. Yeah. See you, man.
Yep. Bye. Cool beans. All right. Yeah, we did. It was just gear progression, so we went a little bit over time, but it's cool. It's cool. I reached level 250. Notice me, Lito99 in Twitch chat. You are noticed. Congratulations on level 250. Oh, the Neo dummy is level 280 and has the HP of Hard Will Part 3, about 56 trillion HP. Nice. I'll definitely kill that then. Okay. But yes, YouTube. If you would like one of these sessions as well, make sure you check the description of the video. If not, I hope that there were still one or two things in this video that was hopefully informational for you, and that it helped you with your progression through the game. If you're one of those rare unicorns in the game who actually plays Kanna, it might have been useful for you. There's not too many Kanna mains out there or Kanna players out there, so hopefully at least one or two will find this video. But yeah, as always, if you have information for me in Reboot, either battle analysis, monster skill per hour, or training videos in Tenebris, please submit the form and give me the links. I haven't looked at those actually in a while. I should do that. And if you want to join my NA or EU guild, there's also an application form in the description of the video, so check that out. And lastly, but not leastly, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, that was weird. I'm cringe.